you. Hold on, let me check. You are muted. And
No,
I'm
not muted.
oh, you're not muted. And I
can barely hear you. Is that you or me, you think?
I'm not sure. Let me get my earbuds going anyway.
All right, I did some, hang on a second. Speak again, please.
Okay, now I've got my earbuds on.
Excellent. Good. No, I've been doing this experiment because when you do Zoom, I don't want all the alert sounds to make noise.
Actually, it's recording right now. Let me pause it because it's set now to record.
My video, I guess.
I actually don't know how to do that. How do I pin you?
You put the cursor over my block and then there's the little dots at the top. And if you click on the dots, it says pin video.
Oh.
Unless you want to wait to do that until you've introduced it and we're starting.
All right. Well, I guess I can say a few words then as people are coming in. I don't have much to say except thank you everybody for coming. As we're slowly learning from having several programs, this will be recorded since we didn't do that in the past. So I'll get the recording probably midweek. However, I am one of the moderators of our Facebook page, the CBS Women, formerly known as Sisterhood. So I'll be able to post the links from today, that Erica's going to give us today, and and the stuff from the synagogue proper in terms of any email follow-up will happen midweek. Let's see. Lisa, do you have anything you want to say?
No, I'm just really excited that we're able to do this on Sukkot, and it's very special to have this kind of a different kind of way to be spiritual.
Exactly.
Well, that sounds like a great introduction then for you, Erica, who teaches yoga and meditation. She's definitely skilled, the right person for this program to think about Sukkot in a new way. So over to you.
All right. So, I put a title that says "Begin Again" or "Just Begin. We're Only Practicing," and for me that goes really far because it talks about my yoga practice, my meditation practice, and any spiritual practice really. So I'm going to read this quote from Martha Graham, which I have a feeling, people may have heard before, but it's one of my favorites. There's a little snippet that she wrote about practice, and meditation is a practice being both a noun and a verb. So it's something that you can do, like it's the actual performance of a task, and it's like a practice. It's like something that I can do to help me get better, or it's something a practice that I do over time that includes like habitual doing and like I'm going to practice this ritual. These rituals we practice today. And then there's the action of verb of like, I'm practicing my French, I'm practicing my yoga. But there's a blur there of definition, and even the dictionaries have them in all different orders, like a law practice or a doctor's practice versus I'm practicing my French. So Martha Graham wrote, or she said, I believe that we learn by practice, whether it means to learn to dance by practicing dancing or to learn to live by practicing living. The principles are the same. In each, it is the performance of a dedicated, precise set of acts, physical or intellectual, from which comes shape of achievement, a sense of one's being, a satisfaction of spirit. One becomes in some area an athlete of God. Practice means to perform over and over again in the face of all obstacles, some act of vision, of faith, of desire. And for me, meditation, prayer, all of these, making art, any kind of art, you know, we're just practicing. And that's, to me, the beauty of when people say, I can't meditate. It's like, well, we're just practicing. I can't meditate either. I just keep trying. So since we're a small group, I wanted to know how many of you meditate regularly? I can't, you know, I got hand raises, but I don't see all those. Like, I got 2 hand raises and a bunch of like non-screens, so I can't see. How many of you have never meditated? So everyone's had like a toe in the water. Shira and Gail, I know Gail a little bit does, Shira might. So, and I think that I'm just gonna pause for a second. Karen, people can unmute themselves if they have a question, right?
Yes, if you know where to find, I'm the other Karen. If you know where to find the other mute.
Okay, good. I just wanted to.
Maybe if people want to reacquaint themselves, if you've got an iPad, it's the top right hand of the screen, but different devices have different places.
All right, good. No, I just, I don't, unless we're doing a meditation, please like ask questions, and Karen can look in the chat because I'll never see the chat.
So Gail has written in the chat that she meditates regularly.
So, you know, I always thought that to meditate, you had to do it in a precise way. And like the person who taught me how to meditate taught me, like, you have to meditate twice a day for 20 minutes, otherwise you're not doing it right. And I felt terrible guilt about that for a very long time, because I was like, I'm a bad meditator. I can't do it the way she wants me to do it. And what I learned over time was there's no exact right way to meditate, and that 20 minutes twice a day is not a magic number. And so that made me feel a lot better, because over time, my meditation practice has changed as I have learned different techniques that you can do. And at some times in your life, it's better, you know, sometimes not. I wanted to read this other quote from Louise Nesbitt, who is a yogi, and she's talking about her Ashtanga practice, but really it could be any practice that you're talking about, the meditation practice, a prayer, a ritual, a spiritual practice. My Ashtanga practice has stagnated, backpedaled, and inched forward, slid back, and blossomed so many times that I have jettisoned the notion of quote unquote progress, so dear to my Western conditioning. So, you know, progress sometimes means sliding backwards, you know, which doesn't make us always feel like, I always feel like I need to be moving forward, moving forward, and life just isn't always like that. So, little kindness for everyone who's practicing.
Oh, there's another comment from S. Kaplan, therapist, that also has a meditation routine. And yes. I don't know if you want to ask any of these people to unmute and share, or if
let's see. Well, you know what? Does anyone want to tell me about their meditation practice and what it's like in light of what I just said? That's actually a good question. Okay.
I just want to say that this is perfect for me and for probably others too. And this is a wonderful way to begin the new year. And I look forward to you sharing with us ways to find time and find a way. And this is nice little, it's a wonderful way to start the new year. Thank you. It's good.
Good. That was really our intention. My intention was not necessarily to do a Sukkot based one, but my someone's talking in the background. That's Karen. There you go. So what I was thinking about was that, you know, leading into my discussion of there's a lot of different techniques. A lot of people use mindfulness meditation techniques. That's what I've been using lately. I first learned mantra. Mantra is when you repeat one word over and over. In a Jewish context, shalom is a great mantra to just repeat. Some people will use like beads, like you've seen people wear a mala, where you just count the beads and you say the mantra a certain amount of times, and use that steadiness with your breath to repeat. Mindfulness is a really good one, because mindfulness is really just recognizing that we're in the present moment, and that we're often not in the present moment. We're usually thinking about something that happened or something that's going to happen, and that we have a lot of emotion about those pasts and futures. So mindfulness helps us to recognize what is right now, this moment, not past, not future, just now. To be able to sit with whatever that present brings. And if you're doing a mindfulness meditation and you're breathing and you start having thoughts, you're like, oh yeah, that's a thought, that's an emotion, just, oh, I feel angry about that. And then you let it slide into the past. You let it go around you, over you, under you, you know, because everything is transient. And that's really a big part of Sukkot. Sukkot is all about transience and impermanence. We're commanded to put up these temporary houses with roofs that you can see the stars through, and live outside in this little place for a week when you have a nice house and you could live inside, because impermanence is an important concept to remember. And meditation, because it's so hard, it is challenging, you know, it's not easy for anyone. Sometimes it's easier for people, sometimes it's harder. At different times in my life, I've used different techniques, because I can't do this one technique because I have no concentration. I'm going to use another. So that's, you know, an important aspect. So I am going to just moving on to like sort of what different techniques there are. There's the mindfulness, which is just aware of this moment. Mantra, I mentioned. Some people just really only center on their breath, which is a mindfulness technique. And then there's also guided versus unguided. And all the ones I've mentioned are unguided techniques, where you are in charge of your meditation. But sometimes, you know, if you're very upset about something, I can't always concentrate, and I need to use, like in the pandemic in March, when I was having there was a lot of unsettling feelings, my regular meditation practice wasn't working. And so my sister had challenged me to use an app, and I did a whole bunch of guided meditations, and that was really, really helpful. And this isn't just me, this is something that actually a lot of my meditation friends have mentioned to me. So, you know, so I love to do like unguided meditation, but it's not always, you know, the right meditation for right now. When I was in pain, when I had my back surgery, I used counting meditations, because those were things that I could concentrate on, you know, the numbers. So I wanted to do 3 different kinds of meditation. We're gonna do 2 short and 1 long. That the long one is like a Sukkot meditation prayer. And the first 2 are just different awareness techniques. So first I want to talk about sitting. So I'm sitting here, and I don't know how everyone else is sitting because I see your faces, but I'm in a chair here. And when I sit in a chair for meditation, I often have like a little pillow or a folded blanket that I can put behind my low back so that I can lean into the chair with a nice tall spine. That's really important. Now, if you're sitting on the ground, so if I sit on my meditation cushion, like this, I still have that nice long spine because I'm up. If I'm on the floor, my tendency is to kind of slump a little and to round. So I suggest either a folded blanket or a cushion, or as I'm going to do today, a nice chair with a little low back support. The other thing that is important to recognize is, what am I going to do with my hands? So my favorite hand position is I put my fingers one on top of the other, and I touch the tops of my thumbs. I'm going to show you. It's just like my hands are like this, and I put my thumbs together, and they sit in my lap. And I say that because depending on how your arms are, if I go like this, they kind of go down. So I might take a cushion or a pillow and take my hands and put them in the pillow in front of me, just resting. Sometimes that's nice. Sometimes you have an armchair that your elbows can rest in an armchair. So some people love this mudra. The mudra is just a little seal with your thumb and your first finger. And then I put my palms, if I'm using this mudra, I'll just put my palms on my thighs, which if I'm seated, if I'm seated cross-legged, they might end up being on my knees, like so. So there's no one way to do it. People say like it's not good to interlace your fingers like one, like this, because the energy doesn't flow as well. And so I think a lot of it is very personal, but you want to make sure your spine is tall, like the lulav, right? You've got the palm fronds of the lulav, you're nice and tall. And I always suggest people take off their shoes. It's not a requirement, but if your feet are on the floor, and then place your hands however you're going to place your hands today. So lean back, and we're going to do just a mindfulness meditation. So one of the things about meditation is that it's about stilling the thoughts in your mind, right? So if you close your eyes, you take away all that extra visual input. So I encourage everyone to close their eyes. And if closing your eyes is not good, you can just look down towards the floor in front of you. And so for our first meditation, it's just going to be 2 minutes. We're going to take a breath and settle. And I want you to close your eyes or look down and just feel your body in the chair. Sort of notice if you're sitting on the floor, just feel how you're sitting on the floor. Just feel what parts of your body are on the chair or the earth. Can you feel the bottoms or the sides of your feet? Can you feel your pelvis seated in the chair? Maybe you feel the pillow at the small of your back. And just think, here I am. I'm sitting. And then start to notice your breath. Soft breath, not changing breath, but just in and out. Listen to the breath. If your mind wanders, know when your mind wanders, because everyone's mind will wander. Just allow it to oh yeah, I was thinking about something. Let me bring it back to my breath. Think I'm breathing in and breathing out. I'm having a thought about something. Oh, no, I'm just sitting here. I'm being present now. I'm breathing in. I'm breathing out. If your body feels stiff, just acknowledge its stiffness. Is your face relaxed? Think, I'm breathing in. I'm breathing out. I am here now. Connecting with this passing moment. Just continue for another minute on your own, focusing on breath, breathing in and breathing out. Very slowly, just deepen your breath. Let the breaths get a little bit bigger. And when you're ready, slowly open your eyes. So I'm curious as to how that experience was for you. Anyone have any observations of how that little experience went? Lori? Lori, you have to unmute yourself, I think.
Right. It took me a minute to find it. So I'm sitting outside, and I do this occasionally. This is not my typical type of meditation, but there was this beautiful breeze, and there was cars going past the front of my house and birds chirping behind me, and I just didn't want you to stop. I just got so into this moment, and that breeze felt like a hug from God. It was just, it was just really nice. Thank you.
Good. Anybody else?
I just have a request. It may be my age, but
Yeah.
I'm outside, and if I couldn't hear you midway through as well as I'd like to.
Oh,
And I
okay.
know-
You know what? I will do the next meditation sitting closer to the microphone. I just wanted
Thank you.
But
Thank you.
the second half of it, I didn't say anything.
No, in the middle when you were talking a little bit,
Oh, okay.
at the beginning I could hear you, and also, your tone is important. So I don't want to ruin what you're doing, but I just thought I should mention it. So maybe if you were closer.
We need good feedback like that.
Thank
Anybody
you.
else want to talk about that meditation technique?
I enjoyed it. I feel much more relaxed. And then I was, when you were saying about the thoughts, and I was fine. I wasn't thinking anything. And after you said that, I started thinking all these other thoughts. I had to bring myself back several times.
I know. I hate to sort of mention the fact that the thoughts are going to come, but whether I mention it or not, they're probably going to come. Okay. So I wanted to note that yoga, which is what I practice most of the time, meditation is a part of yoga, and they say that yoga came from the monks who wanted to meditate, couldn't sit still, and if they could get the wiggles out of their body by doing this physical practice, it helped them still their minds. And so I wanted to stop and just do a little bit of chair yoga so that we can, we'll do our counting meditation, and and then we'll be even more ready. And actually just being with the baby, just I see you there with the baby, I'm just like, you know what? Like they are yoga, they are meditation, they are present moment at all times. So if you're like with the baby, you're meditating. As long as you're not trying to do anything else.
I was just going to pipe in with some more comments in the chat box that as Kaplan wrote that she often used breath in Jewish prayer chants, most by Rabbi Shifa Gold, or variations of Shalom, which you had mentioned. And Lisa popped it and just said, wonderful, I don't want to talk and ruin my Zen.
I love that. To me, it's very stressful to type into chat boxes, so I understand. So I'm going to take out my cute little pillow, and instead of sitting back all the way in my chair, come to the edge of your chair so that, I don't know if you can see, but like I'm like right at the front edge of my chair. So if you're on the floor, you could just be on your meditation cushion or blankets. But, you know, a nice tall spine with your feet about hip distance apart. And just take your arms and stretch them out really wide. And then I want you to roll, like think about the inner part of your arm, roll the inner shoulder to the outer shoulder so that your palms come up. And I want you to stretch your arms up by your ears. And look at your hands and just interlace them and turn them inside out and press them up. Now, right and left are challenging, and I don't care what you do, but press one foot down and then go in the opposite direction. So my left foot is pressing down and I'm going to the right, and I'm going to press it down to come up, and I'm going to let go and do it again. Arms out to the side, inner shoulder to outer shoulder, reach up, interlace your fingers with the other way, the way you didn't last time. Press them up, and this time I'm pressing my right foot down and rooting my right hip, and I'm stretching over to the opposite way. And come up, and release, and just do a couple rolls just for your shoulders. So I do a very gentle twist. Now remember, we're practicing. The goal is not to like get as far around, it's to sort of notice the axis, A-X-I-S, that you have up the center of your spine. So take one hand up in the air and take a deep breath in and turn towards that hand, and then hold the chair. So I've got my chair, I'm holding it down here. You could hold the back of the chair, you could hold wherever you come, and then stretch the other arm up. Inhale, turn towards the hand that's on the chair, and maybe cross your hand over. You could even keep your hand on the other leg, doesn't matter. Press your feet into the ground, and you can feel like your lower belly turn on. Inhale, get very tall, and just nod your head from side to side. And then when you look over your back shoulder one last time, inhale, back to the center. Same thing on the other side. Stretch one arm up, turn towards it, bring your hand down, and at this point, press your feet into the ground, pull your belly in, hold on to that back hand, stretch the right arm up, the other arm up, cross it over, take a deep breath in, keep your hips square, and maybe look over the back shoulder. Maybe you can hold on to the chair a little differently and just nod your head from side to side, nice and open. Look over that back shoulder one last time. Press your feet down, inhale to come back. Step your feet wide and take your hands like little mitten hands and put them on your hips. Right? So I've got my fingers on my hips and I'm just pressing down. I feel a lengthening in my low back. It should feel really good. And now I want you to take a deep breath in and hinge forward, just where your fingers, you're gonna start feeling squishing of your fingers in the front where you're hinging. You might not hinge forward that far, but when you get that far, you can take your hands out and put them on your knees. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, see if you can hinge more. Now, some of us can go pretty far. Some are pretty tight with that long back. but go as far as you can and then reach forward. You might be able to get the ground. You might be able to raise the ground up and, you know, there. You could even hold your shins. And then let your head go. And my favorite way to do this is to walk my hands out, but you could also walk your hands back behind you. And you could make your feet wider. You know, that's also an option here. So find the thing that stretches your hips the way you would like to be stretched today. And then press your feet into the ground. Inhale, lengthen through your spine to flatten your back so you look up. Put one hand on each thigh. And then press your feet down. Inhale, lengthen, come on up with a flat back. We're gonna do one last one. Take your ankle and cross it over onto your thigh. This is like for people who sit in a chair all day, so important. So the same idea of hinging at your hips. So we're not rounding over. We're taking this long, tall spine and hinging. Some people will only go a little bit. Some people's knees might be up high. Just go so far that you feel a nice stretch in your hip. And just keep breathing. Your hands can be anywhere it feels right. Make sure your bottom foot is underneath the knee. And just get a nice stretch. Inhale and come on up. And if you're on the floor, you can do this just by putting your ankle on your thigh. You can lie on your back and do this too, but I was doing it in a chair. So sit up nice and tall, hands at your hips, hinge forward. If there's a baby in your lap, you can, you know, sit the baby on your shin. You can put the baby over onto your hip. I'm really good. I used to teach baby and me yoga. So press your foot into the floor, lengthen through your spine. See how that feels on that outer hip. Inhale, lengthen, and come on up. And release, and then just wiggle. Wiggle a little bit. So get all our wiggles out. So I'm coming back here so that I'm more clearly heard. And I wanted to do one more short meditation, which is my counting meditation. And I find, to me, when I'm uncomfortable, when I'm physically uncomfortable, for whatever reason, maybe I'm, I did too much yoga the day before, or I'm healing from something, an injury, I like the counting meditation very much. And there's something very freeing about knowing what you're supposed to think about. So it's a little bit more rigid that way. So get yourself into your comfortable seat and put your hands wherever they need to be. Close your eyes. And even before we start counting, you need to acknowledge where you are. Because counting, again, it's like a mantra, or it's mindfulness. You have to sort of be present. So, and I love the way Lori described, she could hear things and she could feel the sun. Those are things in your meditation that you just acknowledge, like, oh, I can hear the car go by, but I'm going to continue to focus on my breath and my counting. So counting meditations, I find, work best with a breath. So we're going to start and we're going to count up to 10, and then we're going to count from 10 back to 1. And I'm telling you what's going to happen is because we're going to do it together a couple times, and then I'm going to let you do it on your own. But the first time I'm going to do it, we're going to count in for 1, out for 2, in for 3, out for 4. And then on the way back down, we're going to just take 1 breath in as 1, and then the out breath will also be 1. So there's 2 ways of doing it, and you can pick either way is good. That's good for you. And it's a practice, whichever one you like better today. So start by feeling the floor beneath you, closing your eyes and acknowledging the seat that you're in, that we only have this moment to worry about. And just begin to breathe in and out. Find the in breath and find the out breath. The next time you breathe in, count 1. Breathe out 2. Breathe in 3. Breathe out 4. Breathe in 5. Breathe out 6. Breathe in 7. Breathe out 8. Breathe in 9. And breathe out 10. Breathe in 10 and breathe out 10. Breathe in 9 and breathe out 9. Breathe in and breathe out 8. Breathe in and breathe out 7. Breathe in and breathe out 6. Breathe in and breathe out 5. Breathe in and breathe out 4. Breathe in and breathe out 3. Breathe in and breathe out 2. Breathe in and breathe out 1. So I want you to continue with your count, with your breath. And if you lose count, just start over again. There's no penalty here. And just keep going. Breathe in 1. Breathe in and breathe out 2. Keep going for another minute or 2. Going to go another 30 seconds. On your next inhale, whatever number it's going to be, just hold it there. Exhale, and let your breath just be what it's going to be. And when you're ready, open your eyes. So I'd love to hear any feedback. You could chat, you could not chat. You could type it, you could say it, unmute yourself. And if you're in the Zen zone, you don't have to say anything. So I wanted to talk about Sukkot for a minute, and then we're going to do a little Sukkot guided meditation. So I'm going to bring I have props, right? Because We're Jewish. We have props. They usually involve food. They sent me such a big etrog. It does not fit in my etrog box. It smells amazing. And my husband looked at it and said, boy, we could make something delicious out of that. It just looks like we should be eating it. But if you look at the etrog, it's kind of in the shape of a heart. And there's just a lot of imagery of, to me, like that you start it, and when you do the ritual with the lulav, that you do it with your heart. I have to put it back, and I'm gonna bring. I found a use for my grandmother's nut bowl. She always had nuts in that bowl, so it makes me think of her when I see it. So on the lulav, we talked about like the spine. This is your spine. This is the center. The willow leaves, they don't smell, and they don't have any fragrance, and they look like your mouth, right? The willow leaves, they represent the mouth, and the myrtle leaves, they have a nice smell. It's almost like a little lemony, and they have the shape of your eyes, right? They're like little eyes. And, to me, I love the symbolism that with our whole senses, you hear the lulav, you smell it, there's taste, there's your heart, your spine, there's a wholeness of the four species as they come together. So Sukkot is called Zman Simchatenu, the festival of joy, the season of our joy. And it's, it comes like Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, so serious. I feel like when they blow that shofar at the end of Yom Kippur, I am spent emotionally. Could really use a pick-me-up. And here it is, couple days, a festival of joy. That we get to, there's a full moon, it's bright, we build and decorate, we invite our guests, we eat, always we eat, but to share in what we have, then it's like a festival of gratitude, which is beautiful. And this is what the commandment in Leviticus says this: on the 15th of the month of Tishrei, gather an etrog with the branches of the myrtle, palm, and willow trees, and rejoice with the source of all for 7 days. If that's not like the whole point of meditation, right? Just to be with the source of all. So that is my little like connecting things that we do in Sukkot with our meditation practice. It's about acknowledging our senses and not letting them run us, right? And that whole idea of impermanence. So I have this little teaching or poem or prayer that I found on the internet from Rabbi Yael Levy, who's in Philadelphia. She's a Reconstructionist rabbi. And I'm going to read this poem as a guided meditation to sort of give you some images. And I'm going to bring you into the meditation. Oh, I love it. You've got your lulav and your smelling. It's so great. Her meditation is on the shaking of the lulav, all right? And how we do it, north, south, east, west, or actually start east, south, west, and north. And I'm gonna read the poem and I'm gonna have you think about it. And I'm gonna give you some time to just be in the quiet with it. And so it'll be a little bit guided and a little bit unguided. So when you're in the unguided part, you may say, oh, I wish I had a guided part to this. Like you might get lost. And if you do, just bring yourself back to your breath or use the counting if that was working for you. And I'm going to read the poem a second time. towards the end of the meditation so that you can kind of have a sense. And then what I'd really like to do afterwards is we'll do that meditation, then we can have a little discussion on ways to bring, meditation a little bit more fully into your life. So, and we're relatively on time. I love it. So close your eyes and get comfy. And I'm going to start with that quote from Leviticus and then read Rabbi Levy's teaching. On the 15th of the month of Tishrei, gather an etrog with branches of the myrtle, palm, and willow trees, and rejoice with the source of all for 7 days. And as we shake the lulav and etrog, the first thing you do, and this is, Rabbi Levy didn't write this, but I'm just going to have you visualize yourself standing with the lulav and the etrog, and you hold them together with the pitom down, and you've got them at your heart. And you say the bracha about how being, thanking the source of all for the commandment to, do the shaking of the lulav and etrog. And then after you said the blessing, you turn the pitom up and you hold it at your heart. And we begin facing east and then south, then west, north, up, down, and then back to the heart. And these are her thoughts. East, ruach, spirit, vision, perspective. The rising light of dawn, opening to the light from beyond. We give thanks for the gifts of each new day. We give thanks for the gifts of insight and perspective. South, Aish, fire, passion, creativity, energy that sustains, loves, and inspires, warmth, yearning. We face towards the south and ask to open to the gifts it brings. We give thanks for the love that sustains us. We give thanks for the passions that inspire us. West, mayim, waters, change. The wonder of movement and transformation. We ask for bitachon, the trust to go forward, to engage in the movement, to be part of the unfolding. We give thanks for all we learn as we watch the passion of time. North, Adama, earth, ancient wisdom, reverent relationship. We give honor to our ancestors, we give honor to the earth, and ask to carry the wisdom that is ours to receive and bestow with humility and strength. Up, into the heavens and to all that is beyond our knowing, we give thanks and ask to live with awe. Down, into the earth, our home, we give thanks and ask to live well in relationship with all beings. Back to the heart, we give thanks and ask to live with compassion and act from love. All the directions. Be with the east, the south, the west, the north, the up and the down, always coming back to your heart. Be here and just rest in the quiet of your meditation, of your heart, of your source, the bit of God within you, the divine spark. take into your heart all the directions. Breathe. And come back to yourself. I love where she says, back to the heart where we give thanks and ask to live with compassion and to act from love. In a world of impermanence and transition. Very slowly. Take another breath, a little more deeply than the one before. And when you're ready, you'll slowly open your eyes and just be where you need to be to come out. Because we have like about, 5 to 7 minutes left of our time together, and I wanted to leave it open for questions and resources and things like that. So whenever you're ready, open your eyes and please feel free to ask questions and or observations of things that you liked or didn't or had trouble with.
All right, this is Karen. I'll speak, and I'll admit that I kept losing focus. Like I'd hear a noise, I'd get I'd start thinking about my comfort or whatever, and then I would get back. But it was this constant push and pull between like random little annoyances and then your voice. And it was cool. I don't think I could do it alone, because every time I lost it, I would try to tune it out and then focus back on your voice. So I really do appreciate that.
There are two things about that that are interesting. Number one, it's practice, right? It like the coming back to my voice. But in some ways, and I remember I said like when you lose focus, like that's a thing that happens. So, guided meditations are fabulous way-ins for people who are easily distracted. And sometimes guided meditations are distracting. Like, I think I'll do better today, not listening to a voice, but to listening to my breath. And I think they're both really good things to practice because sometimes one works, sometimes the other works. So that's really, and the more you do it, like some days I sit down and it's like, it's not happening for me today. Why can't I do this? I'm supposed to be able to, there's a lot of voices that happen. And then sometimes it goes really well and you're like, wow, I loved that. So yeah, process.
And if no one else wants to unmute themselves, I can also just kind of share what's been in the chat bar. Because you're,
that'd be.
So Marta wrote, hug Samaya, and there's a wave from Lori, and said, it was beautiful. Thank you. Phyllis wrote that, thank you for bringing a beautiful new perspective to my favorite holiday, which I agree. And then Lisa wrote, thank you. It's been way too long since my last practice. Thank you for reminding me that I need to get back to yoga.
Yeah.
So, and Lori's unmuted, so I'm going to hand the floor to her.
Mm-hmm.
So I do, in my prayers every day, I end with I forget, there's a name for it, but it's part of the Shema or the bedtime Shema, where you call on the angels to be at your right, your left, in front and back, and the Shekhinah above your head. So I do that every day. And then what I've added is that I pull all of that into my heart and I say amen. And that's how I conclude everyday prayers. So what you just did was you just expanded all that right, left, back, forth with all these other opportunities to see more depth to what that can be, and then again bring it into the heart. And so I really loved you expanding my vision for that. I love that. Thank you.
Oh, good. Actually, what I'm going to actually put it in right now is I'm going to put a link to Rabbi Yael's chat, like to that poem that I read. And I'm putting it in now, and it has the Martha Graham quote. Did it do a thing? I have no idea. Did you get that?
I have a question. Sorry, because people are always putting links in the chats and Zooms, and then after it's no longer there when the Zoom is over. Is that true, or
Well,
is it? I was going to
put it up on the Facebook page.
That's lovely, and also to share. I was going to ask you just to share the poem with the group, if that would be okay. But if I can go to the Facebook group, that'll be lovely too.
Yeah.
Right. So the Facebook group is the CBS Women.
Yeah. No. Then I'll be able to get it as well. Just people always do that. Sorry, and I'm like, but wait, we're turning off the Zoom. How am I going to grab that link? Thank you. It was wonderful. And I'm looking forward to this very much. A great way to get centered after a very strange week.
Yeah. And
I wanted to add a thank you to Monica and Andy Hoffman, because they very generously offered the members a gift of lulav and etrog, and we have never gotten one before. So I wasn't sure what to do with it. So I just thought I'm going to have to call Monica and say thank you, that it was just nice to be able to use it and to understand a little bit more about it.
I so loved everyone probably had their eyes closed, but I watched Phyllis just hold the etrog and the lulav as part of her meditation position. And just as I read the poem, and, her ability to just visualize, I imagine that you were visualizing the different directions, was very nice to see that. So this is the first time I've gotten one since we've been in Texas. And I just was inspired well before I was asked to do a Sukkot meditation.
I didn't know the leaves smelled so good. I just had never experienced that.
The myrtle leaves smell really, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the only reason that I knew about all that symbolism was because I taught preschool for 2 years. And when you teach preschool, you learn so many things. Like what are the components of the lula, the 4 kinds, the 4 species and stuff. So that's good.
Nice.
Thank you, Erica.
Thank you, Lori. Thanks everyone for being here.
Thank you, Erica. It was great. Thank you. And thanks to the Hoffmans for the lulav and etrog. It's really a wonderful thing. And also to support the economy of Israel, because, there's no tourism.
Yeah, definitely. They all came from very far away.
Yeah, so thanks the Hoffmans for supporting Israel and their economy and helping us celebrate a wonderful, fragrant Sukkot. Shalom.
Very nice. Yeah, actually, they can watch the recording and see you using the lulav and etrog.
Yeah, mine's in the fridge at this moment, but I did use it
together.
Yeah, no, I had it. I just preserving it, make sure it lasts the week.
Yeah, definitely.
Because those leaves do get dry if you leave them out. You should put them in water, the myrtle and the willow, if you want them to last a week. I've done this a lot of times, so.
Oh, good to know.
The palm will stay, but the willow and the myrtle will melt. Will.
All right, I'm gonna go get a vase to put it in right now.
Yeah.
And many thanks to Karen for being amazing organizer and supporter of making it all happen.
Thank you.
Because we had
this is great. Actually, people are beginning to log out, but before we disconnect, do you want to put any more meditation resources in the chat?
What I put in the chat were there's a meditation app that I like called 10% Happier. And there is one called Insight Timer, where you can like put a timer and it can time you without any music, or you can pick music, and it has different meditations. And both of those have free versions that you could use. You can buy them and get more, but they all have free versions. And that's a place to start. And really for me, it's just keep coming back. You just
And
keep practicing.
Karen, our next program is, we have Ellie Samuels on October 27th. Is that right?
25th.
25th?
And yeah, so the next cooking Zoom is the 25th.
Yeah.
And it's worth saying and so that'll be 11 o'clock on the 25th. We actually have a fixed Zoom login. So if you just copy and paste the Zoom in, this will work for all of our standard 11 a.m. programs.
Oh, that's good.
And actually, prior to the 25th, on the 18th at 11, we're just having an organizational meeting. So if you want to be part of the way CBS Women is going, please do come. We're in a really completely unique opportunity this year with everything being remote, that we don't have we might have much less obligation to do things the way they've been done before, because that's impossible. And so there's a lot of room for creativity and having ideas. So we could definitely use you use all ideas at the meeting on the 18th, or I said the next program. We actually have 2 on the 18th and 2 on the 25th, because in the evening is going to be the study group at 8 p.m. on both the 18th and the 25th.
And guys, any ideas you have, just to echo Karen, if you're up for organizing it and it's something important to you, Karen and I know there's somebody else in CBS Women who would like to join you. So you always have the 2 of us, but Karen, great organizing.
No,
Thank you all.
Thank
Great
you.
job.
Thank you.
And I just wanted to note that since it's recorded, you'll be able to like do the meditation another time during Sukkot. It would be nice.
Oh, good.
So
Good point.
as an idea. All right. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye. Thanks, Erica.
Mwah. Thank you.
Talk to you later, Karen.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.